let's go ahead and talk because I definitely want to reach out to the public a little bit more. And with my channel approaching 10,000 views, I definitely am going to upload a lot more in terms of my everyday policy, really. I mean, it's not really an everyday policy. It's more so that I haven't been very consistent lately with my shit. And I want to go ahead and put it out there that I intend. Excuse me. I intend to make good of my promises here. So, want to go ahead and just bring it up that I will be uploading daily, and currently, probably by the time this video is uploaded, that I would at least say 17 videos that over the course of the next, I would think 2 weeks, next 2-3 weeks, that it's going to be, it's going to be lit. It really is. Like, it's going to be crazy. And like I said, it is very much appreciated that even though I classify myself as a subpar YouTuber and I'm not taking this shit seriously, like, don't get it twisted. Like, what I have to say is genuine, and what I have to say does get me views. So, it is very much appreciated that you guys are paying attention to me, and it very much is appreciated because without you guys I wouldn't be approaching 10,000 views at the current time. And the same goes for, in general, when it comes to my videos, you know, my playlist, all that good shit. That is amazing. It really is. I just need there's like, hold on a second, fucking mosquito bite on my leg. Got a mosquito bite. Anyway, while I approach my, I would say, the halfway point of my goal, which is to get 20,000 views within the first 3 years I've been on YouTube. Now, in hindsight, I do realize that I pay attention to, you know, that I was dead sect X-rated for a good minute, and the fact that someone quickly took that from me is probably the biggest heartbreak I faced when I was on YouTube. And I think where, in terms of how I'm doing it now, is much, much, much easier. Because like I said in my last update video, I have great plans for the future, and a lot has come about since, you know, I really don't know how to explain it, but a lot has changed over the course of the last 2 months. And I can say that with the biggest smile on my face. I can say that. And it's a wonderful feeling, truthfully. It's wonderful. And I feel like this is the perfect time to be honest with all of you about a lot of shit that's been going on lately. So, I was supposed to be at Otakon this year. Couldn't go, sadly. I'll explain. So, back in February of this past February, I caught a... Now, before I even say it, please, I ask all of you as a person, you know, and I ask all of my faithful watchers and subscribers to just please understand that I made this mistake. I atoned for it, and every day I live with this mistake, and I know I can't do shit about it, but how I can go about it is only how I can go about it. So, basically, I caught a domestic violence charge in February of this year, and the charge was assault in second degree, which was to get me, which was if convicted, I was going to face up to 12 years in prison. Now, the victim was my younger sister, who some of you who have seen my DeadSec X-Rated channel, she was actually the first person who I featured on my channel. And, you know, that I can't even begin to explain how that was, but it went down how it did, and I caught that case for it. And when my sister found out that I was possibly getting more than 12 years, she broke down in the courtroom crying. Now, the reason I say that is specifically for the fact that this is not my first offense. I will be completely honest here. I can say that it's not my first offense. You know, I will be completely honest that throughout my childhood, throughout my teenage childhood, I was in and out of juvenile, and then essentially I went to prison before I was even 18. And then, as some of you have seen, for those of you who know my real name is Xavier Courtney. Okay? Now, for those of you who know that name or don't, feel free to Google it. You know, it's spelled with an O, not an E, by the way. And it'll tell you that back in 2014, I caught a second-degree arson charge. Now, that second-degree arson charge was my second strike that I was convicted of. Now, that arson charge got me 8 months in prison. And that right there was not the best, honestly, it wasn't. So I want to make that clear. Now, partially after I served I was originally given a year, but due to a technicality and overcrowding within the prison, I got out in 8 months. So I got out that October of 2014, before I turned 20. Well, before I turned 21, I'm sorry. So I caught that case in, I believe, March, something like that. And no, I think it was before the summer. I know that. I know for a fact that it was something like that. I don't know, but I know I got out before I turned 21, and this is frustrating. And I just want to, hold on, I'm trying to figure that out. I'm sorry. But I want to say I got out before I was 21. And before I turned 21, it was a lot worse for me than it could ever be. Like, it really was. In fact, like, I'm not even going to lie to y'all no more. So, I'm going to show you better than I can tell you. That is me. Okay? That is me. And I'm going to show y'all right there. That is me. April 3rd, 2014. And I was sentenced to 8 months in prison. I was sentenced to a year in prison for that. And at the time, I was 19 years of age. And I got my mixed up on that one. I got out literally a couple days before my birthday. I got out a couple days after my birthday, which was my 20th birthday. So, basically how that went is, shortly before I turned 20, well, shortly after I turned 20, I had to appeal back in court, and for what, I did not know. I thought it was, some other shit, maybe. but apparently the judge who was overseeing my case at the time decided that it was time, like there was more information that needed to be talked about. And apparently, according to the judge, that I was considered a terrorist. Now, be clear, for those of you who have felonies and shit like that, understand that the police, when they do investigations, that they do in fact check. They do in fact check all sources, such as any information that individuals may give, such as social media posts and stuff like that. So, just to read you guys a few of those posts from said incident. This is from, apparently, like I said, I'm not saying real names here, but one comment states, "That's the fire I put out with water bottles in the bathroom toilet last November." Another post was, "He tried to blow us up and shit." The Alexandria Police Department then responded, saying that is not really accurate. He would have been charged with something else if that were the case. And the last comment after that says, "I know this kid. Holy shit. LMAO." So, apparently the police did investigations about me, and a lot of individuals who I thought were my friends, but are no longer my friends, they try to say I was a fucking terrorist and all that other shit, and they pretty much redid the trial, and they wanted to charge me with terroristic threats and second-degree arson. So, went to court for that. That following week, which was the week before Thanksgiving, and basically they were going to charge me with 40 years in prison, but with 8 months served, they were going to charge me 39 years and 2 months. Well, 39 years and 4 months. So, thanks to my lawyer, who is a family friend of mine, helped me avoid that case, and I got off and only had to do a year of probation. So, 4 years later, caught another charge, and even though this was supposed to be my third strike, the judge who was responsible for my case back in 2014 unfortunately passed away a few months after the case was after I saw this judge. So they pretty much told me that this was an isolated incident, and because of my reputation within Alexandria, I know a lot of police officers who know me by first name and stuff like that, and they didn't, they knew me, so they didn't really feel like they told the judge, and they had it on record, they had the officers there saying he was very respectful. He didn't get belligerent with us, he didn't try to put up a fight, he didn't try to run away or anything like that. He definitely did what he could. He respected that it was his fault, and he let us arrest him with no problem. And the judge at the time took that into consideration, and the judge was like, this is her words exactly, "Given your record, Mr. Courtney, I will not give you your third strike. However, I will say that you have to take 18 weeks of violence intervention program," which is basically, it's where me and about 7 other guys who have domestic violence, which, in all honesty, their domestic violence has nothing to do with my case in particular, but it's still the same thing nonetheless. But as I said, it's to the point of where all I have to do now is I got to get a mental health evaluation, which is not hard, and after that I have to finish these VIP classes, which end in October, the 2nd of October actually. And after that, I'm off probation. Fuck probation. Fuck 12. Fuck the courts of Virginia. Straight like that. So, and because of me not being able to go to Otakon, that was the thing right there, that according to the courts of Virginia, I was labeled I was labeled an extreme flight risk, and it was on paperwork that I had to do all that shit, and because of that, I'm not allowed to leave the state of Virginia. Period. No questions. None of that shit. Can't go to Maryland. Can't go to DC. Can't do none of that shit. I can't leave Virginia. Period. No, honestly, when I thought they said a flight risk, I thought it meant you can't leave the DMV area, but I guess that means in general. Oh well. Either way, I'm still within the general area anyway, so it's not like I can, I'm breaking probation or anything like that. I'm not incriminating myself either. So, in hindsight, my probation has actually played a very serious role in my slightly depressive state, which, in all honesty, it's gotten out of control, because I haven't even had it in me to record shit. I haven't even recorded shit in a minute, and for that I do apologize. And now that everything is going back to the way it used to be, all I want now is to just be on YouTube, continue doing what I'm doing, raise my son, and that's it. That's all I want. And yeah, for those of you who didn't know, yeah, I have a 2-year-old son, about to be 3. And him and my nephew are my world. And I'll do anything for the little monsters. So everything I do is for them, truthfully. And from now on, I'm gonna be on it. You feel me? I'm gonna be on that YouTube shit. I'm gonna be on that shit all the time. You see, I'm gonna be consistent until I get that 10K. Straight like that. No more games. So, follow me in the links below. Feel free to hit any of the playlists over here, or I guess they're gonna be over here. Either way, hit me in these playlists below. I'll see y'all what's up.